Now, normally, I, John, would bring you the news from TNA Wrestling. In this episode, however, I discuss the career of TNA Wrestling's most synonymous name, AJ Styles. Starting from his early career, before he was in TNA, all the way up to his unfortunate departure. So, without further ado, let's get started. But first, are you liking this video? Want to see more? Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. It's free and helps me produce more videos like this. So go ahead and do it, so I can continue to bring you all of the content from TNA Wrestling. So in 1998, a fresh-faced 21-year-old man named AJ Styles, real name Alan Jones, would make his debut in professional wrestling. First wrestling in the Georgia-based promotion National Championship Wrestling as Mr. Olympia, a masked wrestler. Now, within a year, he would have won NCW's TV Championship. Now, when NCW merged with NWA Georgia in December 1999 to form NWA Wildside, he would then be renamed AJ Styles. So Styles would go on to appear for Wildside occasionally during this time, and also whilst he was signed with TNA at this point. So while Styles was in Wildside, he would win the NWA Georgia Heavyweight Championship in 2001. So later in 2001, Styles would leave NWA Wildside and sign with WCW, where he would continue wrestling alongside tag team partner Wildside, his tag team partner in Wildside, Air Paris. Now, they mainly wrestled on WCW Thunder, as well as occasionally on Nitro. So a couple of weeks before WCW closed down, Styles and Paris, who were named Air Raid, were entered into a tournament to crown the newly created WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions. But unfortunately were eliminated in the first round by Elix Skipper and Kid Romeo, who would go on to become the inaugural champions. Now, Styles would make a couple of appearances in WWE between 2001 and 2002, after WCW closed its doors, even being offered a developmental contract, which would require him to move to Cincinnati, Ohio, where the Heartland Wrestling Association developmental territory was located. Now, Styles, all credit to him, would decline this, as he stated the move would interfere with his wife's college studies. Now, after that, Styles would wrestle on the independent scene, competing in promotions around the world, including Australia and the UK, as well as all around the US. Now, Styles would also go on to debut in Ring of Honor in 2002 at the promotion's third ever show, and was thrust into the main event scene quickly. Now, he would win the tag team championships alongside Amazing Red, only losing to the championships due to legitimately being injured. After he returned, he would take Jimmy Rave as under his wing and attempt to win the Ring of Honor World Championship. Now, during this time, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, and Samoa Joe. Styles would wrestle in Ring of Honor until 2006, also wrestling some of the independent wrestling's biggest names, such as previous names I mentioned, also Austin Aries, Jack Evans, Matt Sydal, Abyss, Alex Shelley, Jimmy Rave, of course, and Prince Nana. He would also wrestle Roderick Strong. And in his final match, he would face Davey Richards in a losing effort. Now, while he was wrestling in Ring of Honor, Styles would also sign a non-exclusive contract with NWA TNA, a company where he made his name and helped pioneer the X Division. Now, he would debut for NWA TNA in its first show, where he would become the inaugural X Division champion, as well as tag team champion in only the third show for the promotion. Now, that's just fantastic and simply phenomenal, as he would later be known as in TNA. Now, AJ would compete for every championship and would win every championship and Grand Slam champion in the process. Now, Styles would go back between competing in the X Division and the main event scene quite regularly, basically on a week-to-week basis, proving that he could wrestle be wrestling at any point on the card on any show. So no matter which division he was competing in, Styles would put on a spectacle each and every match. Now, during this time, TNA would also experience an unprecedented surge in popularity and attention among the industry, as it was considered the second largest promotion in the US. Now, this interest would see TNA sign a deal with Spike TV. Also, during this time, TNA signed deals with several countries around the world, continuing the promotion's rise in popularity. Now, in 2010, TNA would sign Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, with president, owner, and chairwoman Dixie Carter hoping that they would take the promotion to the next level purely by their star power in the industry and their ideas for taking it to the next level. During this time, TNA's budget would be increased with all the presence of Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff. So TNA went on a bit of a signing spree at that point, signing mostly ex-WWE wrestlers. So one of those wrestlers was Ric Flair, who Styles would catch the attention of, and in pretty early on in 2010, and Flair would actually help Styles defeat Kurt Angle for the World Championship. Now, Styles and Angle would continue their battles over the World Championship for a little while. During this time, AJ Styles would form an association or be partnered up with Ric Flair as his manager, and he would also team with Flair to face the team of Abyss and Hogan, as well as successfully defending the championship against Abyss, D'Angelo De Niro, but unfortunately lost the championship to Rob Van Dam and lost the rematch as well. So in 2011 and 2012, Styles would continue his association with Ric Flair, who would reform the Four Horsemen with the new name of Fortune. So this group featured Desmond Wolfe, Kazarian, Robert Roode, James Storm, and Styles, with Flair as the manager. Now, Styles and Fortune would initially go on to have a feud with EV 2.0. It's a group of former ECW wrestlers that were also that had signed with TNA at that time. So Styles would face Tommy Dreamer, who was the leader of EV 2.0, in a no DQ match. But then in the Lethal Lockdown match at that year's Bound for Glory, Fortune would lose to EV 2.0 And it was really weird seeing a Bound for Glory match, a Lethal Lockdown match at Bound for Glory. But that's just my thoughts. But and in 2012, Styles and Fortune would feud with Bully Ray, Immortal. During the year, Fortune would slowly lose members after Desmond Wolfe would join. Robert Roode, now going by the name as Bobby Roode, uh, would defeat and turn on tag team partner James Storm of Beer Money to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Both of them leaving the group. That was a short-lived thing because Styles and Daniels would also go on to feud with each other eventually. Styles feuded with Daniels and Kazarian in what was considered to be the worst storyline that TNA has ever done. I'm not going to discuss that, but if you're interested, just search Claire Lynch, TNA Wrestling, and you'll discover what I'm talking about. At the final pay-per-view of 2012, final resolution, Styles would defeat Christopher Daniels in what was billed as their final match between each other. Now, in 2013, Styles would reappear on TNA. Now, he would reappear with a beard, unkempt hair, wearing all black, and an accompanying darker attitude, and be referred to as the Lone Wolf. Now, Styles was thrown into the Aces and Eights storyline, with everyone sure of where his allegiances lay. So eventually, it was revealed that Styles was on the side of the TNA, and and the less said about the botched ending to the Aces and Eights storyline, the better. During 2014, Styles would also have a real-life contract dispute with TNA, who at that time were going through some financial difficulties, as they had not only lost their TV deal with Spike, but also Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff had basically gutted the company and changed the company's whole identity to be an alternative to just being a carbon copy of WWE at that point. And long-time loyal fans were just not happy, and they just stopped watching it entirely. So yeah, this financial troubles were plaguing TNA, and so Dixie Carter and AJ Styles would would actually work in the contract dispute onto TNA programming, which in my opinion was a real delicate situation that didn't come off really well. In the end, what happened was that Styles was basically asking to re-sign with the company for the amount that he felt he was worth. A renewal, was going to renew his contract, but with a 60% pay cut due to the financial struggles that they were in. Now, AJ Styles knew his worth and decided to leave the company and go off to New Japan, where he would quickly be involved in the Bullet Club storyline and become the leader, and go on to win the World Heavyweight the IWGP World Championship, proving that it was always Styles' pure talent and charisma that got him over, not TNA or Dixie Carter that made him. And then once he finished up with New Japan, he was on the verge of re-signing with TNA. But at the last moment, WWE offered him a massive contract, and he couldn't. He was at that point where he was just unable to turn that down, that amount of money down, and he would go on to debut for WWE in the 2016 Royal Rumble, and then just take off from there and go on to have a remarkable WWE career, and winning the WWE Championship within the first year of him being there. So this truly is means that AJ Styles is the living embodiment of his phenomenal nickname. And while Styles is currently injured, having suffered a broken ankle in his return match in WWE in September, so while this was happening, TNA offered the opportunity for AJ Styles to be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame at this year's Bound for Glory, which Styles turned down because he felt that he didn't want to go in while still being an active full-time wrestler. So this is all for the episode, and so please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments down below, and ring the bell for notifications on new videos. Until next time, I'm John, and this has been Sudden Impact.